Okay, with this video, we're now going to draw the final lines for the line type exercise, okay? So I want to go to D2L. Okay. Course resources here, okay? And then I want to open up the lines, lettering, and lead types PDF. Okay. So up until this point, we've only used one line type, and that is the construction line. Okay. So by now we should be very familiar with that. All right. Now we're going to start to draw some other line types, including the secondary line. Okay. And these are all secondary line types. We still are going to be using the 2H lead here. We're simply going to apply more pressure to the point of the pencil now to make the line thin, keep it thin, but make it dark, okay? And then we're going to draw our primary lines, which includes the border line and the object line, okay? We see that we're going to be using H-lead. And speaking of H-lead, the Stanton Campus bookstore, they do now have the 2mm H-lead in stock, okay? Because what we've been using so far is softer than H-lead. I think it's like HB, and we don't want to use that. So you want to make sure that that you get H-lead if you haven't gotten it already. All right, so the object line, okay, back to the object line. It's medium in thickness. It's medium in thickness, and it's going to be dark, okay? And we can easily get that thickness with the softer H-lead, because we know that H-lead is softer than 2H lead. All right, and then we're going to draw the border line, which is a thick line, dark in value, and of course we're going to be using the H-lead. So here we are. We're back at the board. Okay. Now let's see. We know that our lid pointer, our lid holder, right? Okay. I want you to make sure that you take the lid out that's presently inside. Okay. Okay. Just to press the top, take the lid out. Okay. I've already done that. And then put a piece of 2mm H-lead inside the lid holder. Okay. Of course, it needs to be sharpened. You can see here. All right, so I'm gonna come here. Okay, hold it like this. Insert it in the opening here. You see, again, I'm holding it kind of sideways. Plug in. Okay, I'm holding it kind of sideways here. Okay. All right. And then I'm using the graphite little filter here to clean the graphite off. All right, and as I've shared with you before, okay, what I like to do, I need to detract this a little bit. Retract it. That's what I meant to say. Retract. It's about like there. So that's probably a good length for drafting. And then I like to just dull that. A moment there like that. Okay. Okay, so as we look at the border line here, okay, because we're about to turn this line here into this border line, okay, using our H lead. Okay, all right, so let's see if we can do that. Okay, I'm bearing down fairly hard, and I'm going over the line 3 times. Okay, good. All right, so now I've done my border line. Okay, good. So next I'm going to do the object line. Okay, we see that it's just as dark, but it's not quite as thick in weight. Okay, good. So now I've drawn my final object line. All right, so next, typically these hidden lines are secondary in weight, but this first series is actually the hidden lines, but we're going to give them the object line weight that we just drew. Okay, these hidden lines will have the weight of the object, of the object line. Okay, so, and what I'm going to endeavor to do is to keep the dashes, okay, uniform, okay. So we see here with this first line, we have this length of dash, and then the dash gets longer here, and then it gets longer there. But the spaces between, I try to keep them as uniform as possible visually. You don't have to scale them; just make them visually. The spaces visually equal, and you see how I start on a line here, and I end on a line. Now the space. Okay. So let's do the first one. Can you see it? Yes, you can. Okay, good. So now we're going to do the second one. Dash a little bit longer. I'm bearing down fairly hard because I want this line to be dark. Okay, good. Then third one, dash just a little bit longer. Okay, good. All right. So now we're going to transition to our secondary lines. And we know in order to do that, we're going to need our, oh, not this one. We're going to need a mechanical pencil that has our 0.7 millimeter 2H lead in it, because all these secondary lines here are going to be made using the 2H lead. So hopefully you can see the distinction between the thickness of the borderline here, the object line here, and then these 3 series of hidden lines share that same weight. Okay, cool. So now we're going to do our second set of hidden lines, but now we're going to give them the secondary weight. Okay, a second set of hidden lines using this secondary lines to each lid. Okay, so let's do that. I'm still bearing down fairly hard because I want the line to be thin and I want it to be dark. Okay, good. Let's do the second row. Dash a little bit longer. Third set. Dash longer still. There we go. Good. All right, so let's see if I can just slide this down without too much trouble. Oh. See if I can get a little bit straighter. Other direction. Good. So now I'm about to make this continuous secondary line right here. Yeah. Good. Bearing down hard. Just going over it one time. Okay. Good. So now I'm about to make the center line, and I want it to look pretty much like that, okay? Right, in terms of spaces and dashes. So. Okay, good. All right. So now I want to make this dimension and extension lines. The dimension line actually is the horizontal line, okay? And typically a dimension goes above it, okay, here. And these are the extension lines which extend from the body being dimensioned. Okay, so the horizontal line again is the dimension line. The vertical lines here are the extension lines, okay? And then this is a type of arrowhead here that's used a lot in architectural drafting. It's called an architectural tick, okay? And it's made using your 45-degree triangle, which you're going to do shortly, okay? All right. So the first thing I'm going to draw is the dimension line. And now I'm going to draw the extension lines. And I'm just going to just scale it. I'm going to make them like 1/4 of an inch from each end, just so it looks kind of nice and balanced. Okay. You see that? Yes, you can. Let's get this to go straight. For the length, I'm just going to do a visual length for the vertical. I'm not too concerned about that at this point. Good. So now I've drawn my dimension line and my extension line. Good. And again, I came in 1/4 inch from the end of the line. So now I can use my 45-degree triangle to actually make the architectural tick arrowheads. And I'm going to switch to my H-lid for that. Yeah. Make I just broke my lid. Okay. Because I was bearing down. Good. So that's the way it should look, right? And it looks pretty much like the sample drawing, doesn't it? Yep. Okay. secondary, object line weight for the architectural tick arrowhead. Okay. Now, let's see if I can come down a little bit more. Okay, let's get it straighter. That's good enough. You can see it. So now I'm about to make this break line here. And I did want to over here in practice. So let me just do another one for you. Okay, show you how you're going to do it. So I'm going to come here. Just going to line this up right here. So you can see what the, so I'm just going to make a, let me use my 2H lead. I'm going to make a line. I'm going to leave a gap. Then I'm going to continue the line like that. Good. You can see that, right? So then I'm going to take my triangle and I'm just going to angle it. I'm just going to angle it like this. Angle it back like this. And then angle it again to close the gap. Right? Just like that. I did it here, I did it there. So now let's do it for real. Okay, so let's come over here. Okay, let's draw my line. Stop it. Write my gap. Finish the line out. Good. Then I can just take my 45-degree. Angle it here. Angle it back again. And then angle it again. Okay, cool. Now let's see if I can bring this down some more. Good. There we go. Okay, so now that brings us almost down to the end. So now with this, these next series of lines, those are the guidelines for this text that we're going to add later when we start doing lettering. Okay. So right now, they're guidelines, and that's the way they should be made. And then these are the lines here are our construction lines here. Okay. And they're fine the way they are. We're not going to change those. Okay. And then the last thing that we have to do is to draw these leader lines here. Okay. Okay. Leader lines. And I did a little example over here. I sketched this box, which is a rough sketch. Okay. And then what a leader does, it kind of it leads from the note describing the object. Okay, so this is my leader line here. Leader line. Now, when we look at these leader lines, we have two types. We have a rectilinear one, and we have a curvilinear one. Okay, and what we're going to do with that, okay, with the curvilinear one, we're going to use our irregular curve or our French curve to do that. Okay, but let's do the rectilinear one first. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw the horizontal line first. And I'm just going to stop it there. Good. All right, good. And then I'm going to take 45-degree of my triangle, and I'm going to go from that point to the end. From that point there to the, let's angle that a little bit better. Good. So I went from that end, from the end of that line, and I drew it to the end of that line here. And then I'm just going to give it a simple arrowhead, right? Simple arrowhead. Just going to like that. Like that. Simple. Okay. Good. So let me find out what I did with my French curve. There it is. Okay. All right. French curve. Okay. So now this one is again is curvilinear. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw the horizontal line first. Okay. And then I'm going to just take this French curve and I'm going to just probably I can use this end right here, okay, to give me an irregular. I can pick it up. All right, let's do it this way. Okay. So I want to just be able to take this at the end and just curve it up there like that. So I'm just going to keep moving this around so I can almost do that. Okay. Where I want to be. Probably needs to be a little bit more rounded because I went to the end and a lot. Okay, good. I think I can use it right there. So I'm just going to draw a line there. Up to there, I think. Good. Yep, just like that. And then I'm going to just put a simple arrowhead on the end. It looks like that. Cool. All right, so with that, we have drawn all the final lines of the line type exercise. All righty.